Welcome to a new series from DriversPay, and we're going to meet the founders of DriversPay, Mike Tyers and Lee Kerr. Guys, tell us a bit about your backstory. Where did the company come from? And you as well.
Okay, so if I'm right in saying this, Mike, you and I have known each other for roughly about 10 years.
About 10 years, yeah.
Mike and I have came from the telecoms and IT sector. Both of us have worked in the IT and telecoms within the taxi industry. And obviously our relationship, we've worked with various different customers. And then roughly about 3 years ago, we had a chat. We thought about amalgamating and bringing the company, the telecoms company together, both our companies together. And from that then, we have come up with the idea for DriversPay. And now we can go through that and have a good discussion where what is DriversPay, where it came from, and where it's going to.
So you've got very different backgrounds. Your telecoms...
Myself, I was on the BT channel before getting into private hire, selling telecommunications and ISDN solutions, and mainly Mitel and Avaya systems. Got involved with the taxi industry about 2000 mark with the booking dispatch systems and telecommunications, doing CLI, and went from there. I ended up becoming an owner of a taxi company and meeting Lee at many functions because we were competitors. We had a bit of fun with that because he sometimes lost and sometimes I lost. But hey ho! But about 3 years ago, we did talk about coming together as one company, and DriversPay was like the topic of the conversation.
Okay, so you were in a completely different industry, weren't you, Lee? You were in property or some form of construction business?
I've been in various different businesses, but I have been in communications and telecoms, but I didn't start off where Mike came from a fixed communication background with BT. I actually came from the mobile sector, and you probably recall John Caldwell, Phones for You, which we all probably loved, but unfortunately it's now gone. But I started off in the mobile industry. Before mobiles, I actually had colour screens. Which just tells you my age a little bit. Yeah. But I went into the mobile industry, and before the mobile industry, I was in the retail sector. So went from retail sector, went into the mobile industry, yet again, very long time ago. Mobiles didn't have colour screens. Stayed in the mobile industry for a number of years, and then moved from the mobile industry and went into the energy market. And then from that, went into various other businesses with different business partners. But then I swung back into telecoms again and brought my experience from the mobile sector, and obviously then it sort of merged with Mike's experience with the fixed communications and the convergence of the communications. I did, like Mike working for BT, I did go and work for a few big companies, and one was a company called BNS Telecoms, which is based in Newcastle. It used to be a PLC, and that was bought over by Daisy Telecom, so it was a big buyout there. At that moment in time, I just thought to myself, you know what? I was a bit tired working for other businesses and making them a lot of money. So I started my first business off in 2008, and that was a telecoms and IT company, and it was very different back then. And we've moved on from that point, and we've got a few companies at the moment.
Communications is basically it's changed, it's evolved into something new now with cloud, and same as the dispatch companies have all moved into the cloud instead of being fixed in the offices. So our jobs are getting easy now because we can do most things remotely.
So who had the eureka moment about coming up with a kiosk and cash collection system?
Well, I think I'd take that credit.
Mike came up with the idea. Actually, Mike and I were at the PSTM show. He was at the PSTM show roughly about just over 2 years ago, and we were there. We were attending. We were still selling telecoms and IT, and we were having a chat, and we're amalgamating the businesses together, the communications business. We know the taxi sector, as Mike will go more into depth, but Mike had said he's got a few ideas. We weren't going to change anything in the industry, but he had an idea about the kiosks. He wanted a partner in the business, and I had a chat with him. I said, look, I'll come into the business, and then it's went from there, and we're now 2 years down the line.
And where did the investment come from to get the company off the ground?
I have I have a huge garden in London, and I have plenty of trees in the back of it. And it's called the large money tree in the back of my garden, and I think that's one of the reasons my mate came to me, because he knew I had a special money tree in the back of the garden. But I know the initial investments came from our current businesses. We're directors in our current business. And we've just invested personal money in the business. We've been very wise of what money we've spent. We've been very wise with design, concept. We've been very wise where the money's been spent, and obviously the follow up were software design, hardware design, marketing, and obviously our road shows as well. And while the business is growing and expanding, yes, our outgoings is expanding as well. Are we owed a lot of money back in? Yes, we are. But the business is doing okay, and we're growing as a business, and as directors, we're happy enough to invest in the business. Any business needs investment. If you don't invest in the business, there's going to be no growth in the business, and we're happy as directors to keep on investing and growing the business.
It is about that as well. It is about growth. Everything's about growth. We want to grow, to be number one. We feel like the product's got so much to offer. So the sector is untrue. It's just amazing product. I think it's the best product on the market. I really do.
So what were the skills you had to learn to bring it into the market? Because you're both mainly telecoms.
We had to learn new things, really. We got into the metalwork company, and we had a bit of a headache to start with, because we got basically the wrong parts for like note machine, coin machine, tablets, some way of interfacing the software, because we knew we wanted to go with it, but we didn't know how we're going to get it there. So we got the product Mark 1 launched with a skeleton, and it worked to a degree, but it wasn't what we wanted. It wasn't right. It just wasn't the end product, really. You know what I mean? We didn't want it like that. So we basically bought out a Mark 2, which we then basically spent more money, more investment, bought a better industrial tablet, a real cracking note machine, which is one of the best ones in the world now, 1 million out there now, and a coin mech worked. But then we also got Andy on board, didn't we?
The strategy, obviously, with the first year was learning and development, and we knew that with the taxi industry being so ruggedized and the operator owners are you're selling a product here which is thousands of pounds. We need to ensure that the product was right. So we did have beta customers. What we had within our communication companies, and obviously them customers allowed us to beta test. From that beta testing, we grew as a company. We went back to the drawing board and we redesigned the kiosk. And now the kiosk is the current kiosk which is on the market. We're very happy with the design and the product itself. Not only that we redesigned the kiosk, we then looked at strategy about bringing on somebody that had the experience working with development team and especially taxi operation software. We brought on another operations director or technical director, and then we've sat down as a company and we've rebuilt all our software, and we launched. Obviously, it took another 6 to 9 months for a relaunch of software, and we launched in June this year, June 2019. But that doesn't say the software is completely finished. Yes, it's 100% operational, but our software will be constantly updating, constantly evolving. While
new features, new functions.
While the taxi dispatch software companies are developing and evolving, our software will evolve with them also.
So where you're at today is you've gone through all of the market proving, and you must be working with early adopters. What kind of customers are out there that you've been able to get engaged and make commitment to the product?
Okay, so I'll answer that. Originally, we assumed in the market, the taxi market, that we would start off with small clients, small operators, maybe sub 100 cars, sub 100 drivers. But actually, it's been completely opposite to that. We've actually gained large operators, ranging from 300 car operators right up to 400, 500 plus. Our current product has been released in the market from June, and these operators have taken the product and they're live, and it's fully operational within the market with the larger operators. With the current market, we're hoping to now go for, the strategy would be to bring on the smaller operators also at the moment.
And what's the size of the market? Because I have no idea how many large operators and how many medium-sized ones, but you guys must know.
Yeah, we've got our data for the UK here, which includes also Ireland. Also, there is consolidation in the industry. One of the reasons why there's consolidation were used to be 25, 30,000 small, we would call them taxi firms or mini cab firms. But the consolidation is to do with the new on-demand taxi app booking systems, Uber. There's a few other ones as well in the market. We won't go into them, but that's consolidated. Obviously, you've got consolidation in the market where you've got larger operators buying the smaller operators out because it's commercially unviable for them to operate anymore. So now where you've had lots of small operators, you've actually got these big super operations where they could go right up to 5,000 cars or 7,000 cars, and we're hoping that those will become our clients, and then the smaller ones will still keep on going because they're local community taxi firms ranging from 100 to 200 cars.
Guys, that's really fascinating. I now understand the backstory and why you've managed to get it right. It's so hard when you get a new product to market to actually get all of those factors right, and you seem to be storming ahead. So in our next podcast, we'll explore a little bit about the culture of the company and how you actually deliver support, how you build that framework. So thanks very much, Mike and Lee.
Thank you.